Sidekicks podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Megan. I am a current Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
And I am Sean, and I'm a professional dancer in New York City, and also Megan's brother. And
Woo!
we're two siblings in the same industry wearing totally different shoes.
Totally different ones. New episodes drop every Thursday, and you can find us on all social medias at the Sidekicks Pod. All right. I'm so excited. Today we have a fun episode. We are going to get to know my sidekick, Sean, just a little bit extra today. Are you ready?
I guess I am as ready as I'll ever be.
Buckle in. But before we do that, we have to get into our side quest of the week. Sean, take it away. What is your side quest of the week?
My side quest of the week. Well, I haven't had a day off in what seems like 100 years. And I just had my first day off and the pool is open. So I got to go to the pool and take a Pilates class and go to Trader Joe's and clean. And it was just very, very nice and much needed. So that was wasn't much, but it was good for me.
It was good for the soul. It's much needed for you.
Oh my gosh, a soul douche.
What?
That's a reference from Barb and Star. It's like cleans your soul.
I've never heard that before. Okay. Anyways, my side quest of the week, I was at, you guessed it, another DCC wedding. Woo-woo! Performing Thunderstruck in a place I've never been before. I went to Houston this weekend and I got to support one of my very close friends, Carly. She's my second leaders. And so very excited for her and her new husband. So that was super fun. She had a beautiful ceremony and got to spend a lot of time with my DCC sisters. So that was really fun and needed because we're in the off season. We don't see each other all the time. So I had a blast.
Wonderful.
Yes.
What a quest.
What a quest. Anyway, so today we are getting to know Sean a little bit deeper, not just as a dancer, but as a person. So before we get into all the Disney, the Radio City, all of that, I feel like we have to start where this actually all began, which is growing up together. And
I thought you were going to say C-section.
C-section? Oh my gosh, no. Growing up together, we got along pretty well. Sean and I would always get, this is so weird, but we'd always get the comment like, oh my gosh, are you guys dating? And we're like, ew, no. I feel like we always got that because we would get along for the most part.
We did get along. And it was like when our like brother and sister like hanging out and like going to the store and going to like get food together, like it isn't that often. So I feel like most people just assumed if they didn't look at both of us, and I feel like we look kind of alike, right?
Yeah. Especially
Smile.
now that we're
yeah, I see it.
Especially now that we're older, I feel like we get it a lot more. It's like, oh my gosh, are you guys twins? Because when people know us, we have like the same mannerisms. So
for sure,
people can definitely tell we're siblings. But my question is, what would you say our biggest fight was growing up?
Biggest fight.
I feel like there's a lot.
I feel like there's not a lot of big fights. I can name like a small few, but the biggest fight.
I know, it's a tough one.
All right. Well, it's not a specific incident, but I think it was a perpetual fight that we would continually have was during our duet practices, especially as we got older. Our duets became more and more complicated and our lifts became more and more intricate. And with that, we had just come from school and then now we're going right into duet practice where we have a short period of time to workshop lifts. And I mean, we're doing dirty dancing, we're flipping, you're spinning around my neck. And sometimes you would wear sequined shorts. And when you would wear anything with little like sparkles, yes, you did, Megan. Because I remember I had to have slices all over my shoulders and neck from your little sequin shorts.
It was probably my bra.
I think you had like a matching set that was just made of razors. And so when we would do lifts and it wouldn't go right, and even if it was like, it was probably both of our fault kind of thing. I was like, I'm in pain. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. That's where I feel like I would start coming for blood was when I was bleeding.
For sure. I know I remember you'd always call me. You'd be like, "Lift your weight, you cow."
Yes, yes. No, that's
Even
I
though I
do
was, like,
say that a
this big.
lot. Yeah, you couldn't have been more
It's
than 80 pounds, and
no,
you were
so
probably
it
3 foot
didn't.
tall. Do you remember we used to call you Megan Moo Cow?
That is okay, pause, not pause, but, like, put a pin in that because now everyone on DCC calls me Meggy Moo, Moo Moo, Meggy Moo Cow. It is literally taken over my life now, but it's now a positive spin on
I love
Megan
that, and
Moo
I think
Cow.
it was derived from Arthur, the aardvark.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a character on that show called Mrs. Moo Cow, and we used to call you Megan Moo Cow. So it wasn't, like, the
Yep.
worst thing, but it probably wasn't the best. But
No.
anyways,
So funny though.
yes, so yeah.
We definitely had our fair share. I also remember, Sean, you would, like, tick me off, like, we'd be in the car and you would just, like, look back at me and you just stare at me and I'd be like, "Mom,
No,
Sean's
wait.
he's looking at me." And then
No,
you'd be
sorry,
like,
no, just one more. That
"Oh,
yes,
okay."
you did get angry at lots of little
I
things like that.
hated when you
There was
looked at me.
also when again, same time period as when the lifts and the bickering started to get a little bit crazy, I would drive Megan home, and sometimes if you would say something annoying, I would be like, "Megan, stop doing that." And you'd be like, "No." And I'd be like, "If you're gonna do that again, I'm gonna pull over and I'm gonna make you walk 50 feet." And you're like, "No." And then you did it, and I was like, "There's the door. Get out." You'd be like, "No, I'm not getting out." And I'm like, "Well, then I'm not gonna drive anywhere else. I'm gonna sit here all night."
Two
That yeah,
stubborn
we're both
people.
stubborn and just constantly tired, so it wasn't the best. It wasn't us. It was the probably lack of sleep and just absolute pure chaos of life.
That is so funny. No, that we definitely got along for the most part. But we had our fair share of our
We did.
discrepancies.
It's like we were together all the time. We were together in the we wake up, we go in the car, we go to school, we have lunch, we
True.
dance, we do a lot more dance, and then we drive home. And it was like for being that having that much time together while being like an angsty teenager, I feel like we fared out pretty well.
We did. I will also say Sean and I had our fair share of trying to choreograph together, but
Mm.
Sean would always be like, "Megan, we are not doing that." And he would never take my advice because 'cause he'd be like, "Your ideas are stupid." And
Okay,
I
no.
would take him so personally, but then I'd end up going on with Sean's idea and it would be good.
I
But we had to put our pride aside.
Yeah, I think I could have been more accepting of some of your ideas, but even I remember when I was doing your solo, I think it was the very first time I did your solo, and you were wanting to do that Imagine Dragon song,
Oh, that
and you
was
were
my
like,
3rd solo.
okay, that was your 3rd solo, and you were like, "I
Yeah.
really wanna do it," and I was like, "I literally can't help you," and then you're like, "I'm gonna do it anyways," and I was like, "Well, I cannot choreograph to that song." And you called me and you're like, "Okay, Sean, can you please just, like, help me? Like, I'm gonna try and do it myself, and you just need to, like, give me advice." And you started off, you're like, "Okay, okay.
In a
I'm gonna
headstand.
start off with my head facing the back and my butt facing the audience, and I'm gonna go into a headstand at the start of an Imagine Dragon song." I was like, "You lost me. I'm out. I can't even be here
Oh
anymore." And
my
then I think
gosh.
that was when you're like, "Fine, I'll listen to you." And then you won your Barbie, so
There you
it was
go.
good.
It all makes sense.
It
Oh
does.
my
But I
gosh.
do your choreography though has gotten a lot better. And I used to be
Thank
a
you.
little scared of letting you do it, but now some of your solos, the parts that you choreographed are like my favorite parts. So
Thank
you're
you.
getting there. But I think you just need someone to be like, "Hey girl, you're a little local crazy right now."
Oh my
And that's my
gosh.
job.
Yes, it is. That's hilarious. Segueing into a little bit of a different part, still our childhood. What would you say there were things that I got away with that you didn't?
Hmm. Things that you got away with that I didn't. Well, I
I feel like I didn't
think
do a
that
lot though.
you didn't do a lot. I think the one thing that you did do maybe a little bit more was you wanted to always stay home from school. You would just be like, "I'm tired. I wanna stay home from school." Like, reasonably tired, like, after a
Oh,
dance
I know what you're
competition or
talking about.
something, and you'd be like, "I'm tired. Can I stay home?" And I feel like mom and dad were always like, "Oh, sure, Megan." And I feel I could have probably done more, and I could have been me too, actually. I was just so stressed about missing things at school. I was like, if I stay home, I'm gonna miss this, and then it's gonna screw me over in the long run. Then I'm never gonna go to Stanford. So I feel I just didn't do it as much, but I feel I could have maybe. but you did get
True.
away with it a lot.
I definitely feel like I was able to take some time off and take my time and not go to school. I would always,
Yes.
like, sleep in a little bit longer and, like, miss maybe, like, my first class if I needed to after a competition, and then I would come for the rest of the day. Well, anyways, you were
Anyways.
very studious. You wanted to get into your top schools, and obviously you went to Chapman, and I feel like we need a little bit more of a Chapman experience. You were obviously a dance major, so tell us how the audition process for Chapman was like, because I know you auditioned for also like USC, Gloria Kaufman. They all had
Yeah.
like similar things, but like tell
Yeah.
us how that was for you and what that
Yeah.
was like.
Okay. So I must have had something wrong with me when I was going through that time period because I just didn't understand like anything about it really. There wasn't many people that went from dance studio or even like high school to like dance in college. Like most people stopped before or at high school. And so I didn't really know a ton about the audition process. And I met with people and they were like, yeah, this, that, and the other. But like something wasn't clocking in my brain.
The
Cute
puzzle
Justin Bieber.
pieces weren't fitting. There we go.
And
We got it. You learned it from
no,
last
I knew
episode
it
because
back
you didn't.
then. I knew it, I swear. But when I went in for the audition, most of them were like, do a full ballet, bar, modern, whatever. And then they would sometimes ask you to perform a solo. And I remember before my USC audition, I literally, like, no joke, drove up with my parents. We stayed at a hotel. They were like, we're going to dinner. And I said, hold on, I have to choreograph an entire solo. The night before my audition in the hotel room, I just was improving. I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun. This feels right. I never did it full out. I went to the audition. I did all the classes. They're like, here you go. Here's your solo. I went out. I started to do it. I forgot what the heck I was doing. Basically improved. And I was like, hmm, not the worst. And then you think I would learn from that lesson, but then I went to Chapman for an audition and I practiced that solo that I had flubbed really horribly at
Flubbed.
Kaufman. And then on the night before Chapman, they were like, you can do two styles. And I said, perfect. Let me choreograph a tap solo. And I did my little solo that I flubbed, and then I went into my tap solo that I had never practiced full out, and I made it
Goodness.
almost to the end, forgot it, started improving in tap, which was just me. I did like a turn, fell out of it, and I was like, "Pa, jazz." Um,
Chaz tap.
yeah, it wasn't my best. I think I did a lot better at that audition, and, I smiled, and I got some sounds in, and
Good.
it was enough. It was enough to get me there.
Oh my goodness. That is wild.
No, but when I look back on it, I wasn't nervous. I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go and do it. I didn't understand how much was on the line. I didn't understand anything as it turns out. Yeah, not
You're
my
just going
best.
for the vibes.
I literally was just like, I didn't even want to go to school for dance. I was like, I'm going to school for business. And a couple schools I auditioned at USC, UC Irvine, and Chapman. And I was like, oh, I'll do those. But everywhere else, I literally had just applied for business. And one of the main reasons that I did end up choosing Chapman was because they were like, we encourage you to double major or get a minor. And so I was
Mm,
like, oh, business and dance, boom, chef's kiss, let's go.
boom. Love that. And I feel like obviously that wasn't your first choice. You're like, okay, maybe I'm going to do business instead of dance in college. And
Yeah.
it's crazy though, because I feel like watching you from afar and you were at Chapman, you'd post these dance videos. I feel like you grew so much as a dancer. So my question is like, what did that environment teach you about yourself as a dancer?
That is a great question, Megan. You should interview more. So, a lot of people have been asking, and not a lot of people have been asking. No one's been asking, but I've been thinking
Are
about it. Now they are. Who knows?
we want to know?
Yeah, like a lot of people are like, why did you go? In my mind, these people are the voices are asking me this. Why did you go to school for dance when you could have just gone straight into the industry? And I feel like when I was leaving my dance studio, I feel like I had not plateaued, but I feel I just had accepted my place as the musical theater guy. And I was going to
Hmm.
do a center leap and then I was going to turn and then I was going to be like, wah, wah. And that was enough to get me placing. And that was enough to win me titles. And I was like, you know what? This is great. And then when I went to college, that wasn't really an option to just like rely on, hey, I'm the musical theater guy. Like, no, you're not. We're in a commercial and like we do jazz, we do hip hop, we do ballroom, we do ballet, modern, like we do it all. And you don't have a choice to be just the musical theater guy anymore. So once I got there and I realized how much talent was in my class, I was like, oh my gosh. And it was just a really cool place that allowed you to be vulnerable without being judged. It was like, hey, we're all here for the love of dance, and not everyone's the best at every class that they're doing, but there
Mhm.
was a positive environment there. And it really did foster such a good place to push myself in other styles that I wasn't truly comfortable in, maybe like during high school and while I was at a dance studio. So I felt like I did grow a lot because no one knew who I was and there were no preset expectations of what I was going to give. Everyone's just like, wow, we all are talented dancers and no one knows what I was like before college.
I
So I
love
think that
that.
I was like, I can be anyone I want to be.
Yes. That's the best part about college is, like, you can no one knows who you are before you walk into that room, and so you get to rewrite your own story again and
Exactly.
be the person you wanna be. So,
Yeah.
I love
No, it
that.
was great.
Great, yay. Well, the best part I feel like about your college experience is that you were so close to Disneyland, and we
Oh my
all
gosh.
know you had your Disney era. So, people wanna know what it's like working at Disneyland, all the fun things. So, let's start from the beginning. When did you audition to work at Disney, and how was that audition process like?
Yeah. So when I first went to Chapman, I was like, I want to dance at Disney. Like that was just like such a cool thing. The audition, it was pretty straightforward. You go in and it's a cattle call. This is like an open called
Chemical.
audition that anyone could go to. Anyone in the world could go to this audition. So people that were dancers, people that were not dancers, everyone could go to this audition, even if they just wanted to experience it. So there was a ton of guys that would go to these. And then the first round of auditions is literally, they would do like pot a boo ray and a pot a boo ray, shun a step, walk and walk. And for like a dancer, you're like, oh, come on. But not everyone has any experience in dance. So then they would weed out people that couldn't take corrections or couldn't learn choreo. And then they would put you into another room, they would take your height, they would take pictures of your face in case you looked like a face character, and then you'd be in a room, like, with, like, 80 people, and you would have your one shot to do it, and hopefully you didn't forget it or mess up too hard, and then from there, you got cast or you didn't. And
Wow.
so I auditioned, yeah, freshman year, I wanna say it was, like, maybe September, and, I got booked for the Main Street Electrical Parade, which is one of the oldest parades that's still going at Disney, and I was a
Mhm.
court dancer. So
What?
I got to dance with lights and under the tarp with, like, Cinderella and stuff, and it was
Yes.
so cute.
That was the best. So that was, like, your first thing, first gig
Yes.
with Disney. Who, if you're allowed to say, who were you friends with at Disneyland? Wink, wink.
I was friends with, I loved some of those tall friends. So, I loved Genie, I loved Goofy, Captain Hook, we had an iffy relationship with, but yeah, besides that, though, they had me in everything. I was, for the most part, I feel like I was usually a standby. Basically, I would just go into work and I would have to learn most of the male parade roles. So, like, I've been a pirate, a chimney sweep, a Mardi Gras dancer. I danced on stilts, court dancer, ball dancer, dead, alive.
Dead alive.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my goodness.
I was like in the Halloween parade. So
Wait, I never
I,
seen those photos,
yeah. Oh my
actually. I did
gosh, I
not
had
know
to like
that.
do full like basically drag makeup. I was
Oh,
white. You'll insert picture.
insert picture
Crazy.
here.
No, but it was just so much fun. I never knew that, like, work could be that fun, and that kind of did, like, open my eyes as, like, "Oh my gosh, dance could be a career." Like, I was working, and I
Mhm,
was making a livable wage off of just
mhm.
dancing at Disneyland for f like, it was just me and my friends basically just having a great time, getting fit in the summer, and at the most magical place in the world, and I loved it, and I still do love like, Disney has such a special place in my heart, but the hardest part were probably the rehearsals because we would, a lot of the times rehearse once the park was closed, so I would finish school, I would go to Disney at, like 8 or 10 p.m. I would dance all night, and then when the sun was starting to rise, that was like when I would go home and maybe get a little sleep or work on homework
Mm,
or something. So that was the tough part, and then just like balancing schedule
so
because
true.
I had my business, I had my dance, I had if we were doing shows, I would have to have rehearsals for those shows, and then I would also on the dance team, so we had rehearsals for that, and then so trying to find time where I could still make it to Disney rehearsals and still find time in my schedule to actually work during the week was like that was I would have to write like I would literally have pages of like I'm gonna miss this test, I'm gonna have to do this then, I'm gonna do this that.
Oh my
But it was like I
gosh.
wanted to make it work so bad, and I'm so happy that I was able to make it work.
Yes, I love that. So that was definitely the hardest part of the job. What would you say your favorite memory working at Disney was?
Yeah.
If you could name one.
If I could name one memory, you know what? One that was like really, really awesome and very fun for at least me was every year they shoot like ABC has like a Christmas Day special, and
Yes.
bring in like people and whatever's happening big in Disney. And so when I was booked on this job, it was the cast of High School the Musical the series. So it was like Olivia Rodrigo, Joshua Bassett.
Mhm.
It was like the original cast, and they were just there, and they hadn't really blown up yet, so they were just like, "Hey, how are you guys?" And it was just kind of like, "Hey," it's like, "We're just chilling, we're just dancing and stuff," and they were so nice. It was such a cool thing. It was on TV, and I was like, "Oh my god." I wasn't even on TV for that long, but I was like it was
I
just very
remember we
yeah.
all watched it Christmas morning. We're like,
Yeah, Christmas
"There he
morning.
is!" And it was so fun, like, pausing it on the TV, like, taking screenshots, but that was super, super cool, and definitely, like, I feel like a once in a lifetime thing for your career to do.
Yeah, it was so crazy, and I never did it again.
Never again. That's so
No.
funny. Okay, so you went from Disney to Radio City. I feel like we need to kind of elaborate on this. You were finishing up college, you had 2 degrees, business and dance, and then you also got your master's too, I think during, like, that COVID time, like, during
Yeah.
my senior year of
Mhm.
college.
Yeah.
How did you decide that you were gonna pick your life up from California and just go with, like, not even a plan? I feel
Yeah.
like that is so scary to do and so brave and courageous, and it obviously paid off, so walk us through that.
Well, so COVID had just happened, and I had kind of squeezed into this master's program that was like its first year. And I was kind of like, I don't know where the dance industry is going. So while I know I'm not going to be doing any dancing, I would like to further my education. And so I did that. And then right when I finished that, Disney started opening back. And so I was like, well, maybe I can do real estate and do Disney. And so I
Fair.
started working. Yeah, I was like, I started working at a title company. And I was working at Disney and I was teaching dance, and I felt like I was kind of in this loop of I was doing the exact same thing every year at this point, and I
Yeah.
wasn't really seeing any change, and I wasn't seeing any in the future of me having much change. And at that point, you had already gone to Dallas, and you had already decided that you were going to audition for the Cowboys. And I was like, that is crazy. Like, you just were like, I'm gonna go and be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Thank
And
you.
I'm gonna stay there if I don't get it. Like, I'm gonna make it work. I want this. A lot of people don't really move away from Oceanside. Like we grow up there, we live there, we stay there, we work there, and then we die in Oceanside. So it was just like I was like, what the heck? She's leaving and doing something really cool and progressing her career. Like that's crazy. And at the same time, right after you had gone, my partner, who's also a dancer, was like, I want to do New York. And I would love if you came with, but I don't want to force your arm or anything, but I'm gonna probably be going. And
Yeah.
I that was very scary because I had just finished a degree. I had fresh loans and all my connections were in California and in San Diego. But
Mhm.
my biggest dream since I was a child was to try and dance in New York. And I wanted to prior to COVID. But then once COVID happened, I was like, it's just not for me. And I haven't been working hard enough to get that goal. So I just kind of had been like, you know what, it's not my time and maybe another life or something. But once Josh had decided I have a goal and I want to go somewhere and make that goal happen, I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? So we packed up a car and I quit all my jobs We had no apartment, we had no job in New York, and we were like, "We're just gonna find our way over there." So we just drove across the country,
Oh my
and,
gosh.
we would take turns, and while we were in Nevada in the middle of nowhere, I had found an apartment in New Jersey, and I was like, "You know what? I think that this is really great, and it's close enough to the city." And so we moved, and we were like, "Alright, let's start grinding." Uh, from there,
Wow.
yeah. Josh
That's so
already had an
wild.
agent, so he was already dancing and I didn't. So I
Right,
was
you were
like,
doing your Uber Eats like we talked
yeah, I
about.
was Uber eating. And so then after that, I was like, I would like to do something that's fulfilling and that I'm interested in. And so I ended up going into the fitness world and I got my group fitness instructor certification and started
Woo!
coaching fitness in Jersey. And I was putting so much time into there that I was not having time to take classes.
Right,
I wasn't auditioning for anything because I didn't have an agent and I was just kind of busy with coaching. And I
totally.
remember going home and one of my dance teachers, Caitlin, she was like, "Why are you coaching in New Jersey? Like, you didn't move to New Jersey to coach." And I was like, "You're right. You're
Exactly.
right." And after that, she's like, "You need to audition for something." And the first audition that was an open call audition that I found was Radio City. And I was like, "There's no way I'm going to get it my first round, but let
And
me
you
just like,
did!
like
Oh my gosh.
no, it was crazy. Took some
That's insane.
classes, got myself back into the dancing groove, and then from there on, it's been just an amazing journey, and I'm so grateful to have it.
So tell us what it was like getting that call that you got the job. I'm so curious.
Um, well, basically, if you didn't hear from the last episode, when you finish the audition, they say, "You might hear from us in a month, you might hear from us later than a month, and you might never hear from us." And so after the audition, you're planning your whole future off it. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to do this, and then my parents can come out and visit me, and
Yeah.
it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be great." But then you're like, "Oh, like I don't even have the job yet." And so I would have
Yeah.
dreams like every night, be like, "You got the job?" And I'd be like, "Yes." And then I'd wake up and I'd be like, "Ah." And I remember I had coached in the morning and I had gone home and I had taken a nap. And during that nap, I had a dream that they called and they had offered it to me. And I was like, oh, and it felt so real. And then, like, maybe an hour later, I was driving to Starbucks. And while I was in the car, I got a call from a New York number. And I was like,
Oh
hello.
my
And like, is this
gosh.
Sean? And I was like, "No freaking way." I was the best of the best, like, I was on cloud 9. I was on cloud 24.
Oh,
It was the best cloud. It was a
that's
great
so
cloud.
sweet. I remember you told me because like, kinda how we mentioned last episode, you, like, didn't tell anyone, and I remember
Mm.
I was at work and you're like, "So, like, I auditioned," and I was like, "What?" And you're like, "Yeah, yeah, I didn't tell anyone, but I just wanted to make it past the first round." Made it past the first round, and then I made it to the next day. Then I made it all the way to the end, and I was like, "What?" Like, literally, like, "What the heck? You literally didn't tell me." And then you're like, "So now I'm just waiting." And then literally the next day you got the job, and I, like, told my whole office. I was like, "My brother got the job." I literally told every single person. They're like, "Okay." And I was like, "No, jump up and down." And they're like, "Okay."
Jump, jump.
Jump, jump. So now this has been your 3rd season. You just finished your
Yeah.
3rd. Now this will be your 4th, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, what would you say your number 1 favorite memory of Radio City has been?
Number 1. I think there's something so special about, you work for about a month, like 2 weeks in a rehearsal hall and then 2 weeks at Radio City, and, you're stressing and your body's tired and you're grinding and grinding and grinding, and to do the finale, like the final bows, and to be like just dancing on the stage and looking at a theater that you've only dreamed of dancing on, just with people that you love filled in the audience. Like, I don't get emotional about like happy things usually, but I just remember being like overwhelmed with joy that this was like my real life. And
Yeah.
it was just such a euphoric moment, probably one of the best of my life.
Aw. I feel like when you work so hard for that one moment and then you get to
Mhm.
share it with the people who've rooted for you since you were a child, it's really
Yes.
special, so I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna rapid fire so we can get to know all the fun things about Sean. We know the dance. Okay, let's
Okay.
start with something simple. Sean, what's your coffee order?
Coffee order, brown sugar shaken espresso
Wait, mine
with oat
too.
milk.
I didn't know that was the same one.
Oh my god, yes, we
Okay.
share the same drinks.
Okay, morning or night owl?
Night owl.
I
I'm
knew
night
that.
owl by heart, but by career, I have to wake up in the morning. So it's like this horrible dichotomy right now where I'm like,
A
I love the night, but I'm like, I wake up in the early morning. So I'm a little bit of both, but my
little
heart
bit of
is
both.
at night owl.
Yes. Favorite NYC spot after a rehearsal or a
Ooh.
performance?
Okay. Well, if I'm
You
looking
can
for
name a
just like a
few if
quick
you need
bite,
to.
I love Westville. I just got it today. Salmon teriyaki with
Okay.
garlic mashed potatoes and soy glaze. Green beans. I always will get it. Nothing changes when I
Great
order it.
bites.
But if I'm going for like a fun, like little like happy hour or drink, it's gonna be Jasper's. I've
Oh,
taken you there a handful of times
yes.
already.
Cute. Cute,
Like an
cute.
espresso
I like that
martini.
place. A little
Heal my
espresso.
soul. Soul douche.
Oh my god. Okay, favorite snack during Tech Week?
Favorite snack. Okay. It's not the best, but I allow myself when I'm doing intense dance schedules to eat Starburst minis. And it's just like I just will be like, oh god, I'm on the brink of death. And I'll just eat like a handful of Starburst minis and I'm like, oh, that's the stuff. And I'll feel
They're
a lot better.
actually so good.
They're
I've
so
kept
good.
those
And
in my car.
no, and it's like not having to unwrap them is like such a
It's a
game
little
changer.
dangerous.
I'm like, oh my god, I can have 700.
17.
No, yeah, or 17, somewhere between. Healthy balance.
That's so funny. Okay, dream Broadway show if you could book one.
Dream Broadway show. Okay, well,
Sorry, that sounded kinda rude.
I love Some Like It Hot. I've seen that musical 5 times, and
I still haven't seen
I love
it.
everything about it. It's on tour right now, but I do love that musical, but right now on Broadway, if I could book anything, probably be Schmigadoon. There's, like, incredible dancing, it's really funny. Megan,
What?
that's the name of the show, Schmigadoon.
I've never heard of this. Wow.
Goodness. When you come back to New
Schmigadoon?
York, maybe I can take you because I think you'd really love it.
Okay, okay. If you weren't a dancer, what would you be?
Ooh, when I was a child, I really wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, and I love that idea. I unfortunately did not enjoy chemistry, so that was given up at a quick age on
I remember
but
that. You studied every single bone in
I
the
loved
body.
it. No, I was obsessed. But if
Yeah.
I were to be anything besides dancer or an orthopedic surgeon, I would be Ooh, I don't know, Megan. This is a hard one. I'm so
I mean, you're
indecisive.
already you're like a fitness instructor too. And I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say like real estate agent because I'm like, you
Uh,
have your real estate
well, yeah,
masters.
no, I do enjoy that, but I'm thinking like perfect world, if I could be anything. Oh
Oh
my
my
god, Megan, I
god.
can't think. I can't think. If I could be
It's
anything,
okay.
options are endless. I would
I
be
know. You
ooh,
could be
maybe maybe like a conductor in an orchestra. I would
oh,
love that.
okay. That would
I
be
like
fun.
love that would be so fun. And I could just like and I could whenever the band
I was
raises from the floor, I'd be like,
wait, you'd be really good at that. You'd be like, yeah, hey,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
practice. I'm gonna practice my conducting.
Okay. I mean, you kinda like conduct when you're teaching Orange Theory. You're like, over here, treads,
No, I literally do. I'm like,
mics,
"You
everything.
more." That's funny.
That's funny. What would you say your go-to karaoke song is?
Back in Black. I lose my voice
Oh,
every time I sing it, but I just love it so much. I
wait, I
can't
knew
not.
that. That's so
I would give
funny.
you a
That
hint
would
now, but I would probably blow out this microphone.
you would. You actually would. What's your most used emoji?
Most use emoji.
Let me guess. Is it this
Yes.
one?
No. No. Favorite emoji? I do love the seal emoji. It's like
Oh, I
it's kinda
love the
like
seal, just
lounging.
a
It's just
little
kind of like I feel
yes.
like that's me a lot. Like I'm just kind of like they're like,
It's
"Where are
just
you?" I'm
like,
like, "I'm seal
I'm
lounging."
vibing
They're
and
like,
lounging.
"No, I love the seal."
That is so funny. Okay, one last one. What's, like, one thing people always, like, wrongfully assume about you?
People always assume that I am your younger brother.
Really?
Isn't that crazy? Because I'm like, where do you see like where my beard just scraped the microphone. Where do you see the youthfulness? I mean, I'm like, thank you. Like, I will keep wearing my under eye cream, but I'm like,
Oh my god.
I just feel like it's so obvious growing up with you. Like, obviously, you were the younger sister, but I think maybe you being like so successful, people are like, older sister. I don't know.
That's
That is
funny.
something that's funny though, right?
That is
Bizarre.
funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like after everything, there's like, what's one thing that you've learned about yourself on your journey so far? And we'll close out with that.
Oh, very good closing remarks, Megan.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned about myself
And I'll
is,
tell you what you've taught me.
oh, this is great. I love this episode. I think something I've learned about myself, I think that just from a young age, I thought that if I didn't spend like 100 years of my life dedicating every minute to the craft, that like I wasn't sufficient to even like exist in the same realm as some of these people that have. And I think that looking back on my life, I think that I've had a lot of experiences in a lot of weird different places that have all kind of built me into the person that I am today, and that I'm very unique in all of what I am in that like style and experience wise. I feel like what I have is different than other people, and that makes me unique. And
Hmm.
yeah, something along those lines.
You're a product of all the experiences and places you've been, and you're very adaptable. And is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, no, I surprised myself in that, like, a dance could even be a career. Like, I just assumed that was for Derek Huff, and that's it. Like,
Is
only Derek Huff could have a career in dance, and there's only room for one guy.
that it? Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's
You
it. I
got
don't
it?
know.
Okay. I'll say that I feel like, what I've learned from, like, watching you afar is, like, you have always been so colorful and so, like, outgoing and not afraid to be you, and I think there's been so many instances where I'm like, I need to make myself smaller to, like, fit into
Mm,
their box and their vision of me,
yes.
and that's, like, never worked out. You've always been like, "No, you need to, like, be yourself and be who you are and, like, live loudly and boldly," and so I feel like I have learned to be my biggest, brightest self because you've always been just like that big star, such a fun light to be around, so I feel like I've
Oh,
always have admired that about you, and you're always so positive too. At first, when we were growing up, we used to say that Sean used to drink Haterade, because he was so
yeah.
sassy, but he's so positive and, like, joyful, and it's just, like, very infectious, and it's like, I wanna be that too. So,
Oh, that's very,
that's what
very
I've
kind.
learned.
Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome. Okay, well, I feel
You
like
heard it here
people
first.
officially alright, that's enough. I
Yeah.
think people officially, know who you are now, or at least they can judge you by your coffee order, by our coffee order
Oh my God,
now,
yes.
which is I feel like everyone has it,
It's
but
the most
that
cliche coffee order in the world, probably,
it's
but
the
it gets
best.
the job done and it tastes
It
pretty
gets
great.
the job done. It's not too sweet, it's got enough caffeine,
It
and it
has a lot of
tastes
caffeine.
like magic. It tastes like
It
magic.
tastes like a magic.
It tastes like a magic trick because that's what it does to my body. It says it will awake after
Yes.
I'm dead.
My gosh.
Anyways, that was fun.
Megan, it's been real, it's been fun, and I have loved talking about myself for every second of this episode. But it's time for us to
Yep.
go. So, Megan, take us home.
Goodbye, so long, farewell. Just kidding. New episodes. They're every Thursday. Make sure to follow us on all the social medias at the Sidekicks Pod. And you can find us everywhere. Apple Podcasts,
Everywhere.
Spotify.
You can find us
Everywhere.
everywhere. Look under your bed, look in your closet. We're there.
They're there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
We're in your
listening. I hope you have
dreams.
a wonderful rest of your Thursday or Friday or whatever day you're listening to this on. And we'll see you
Happy
hopefully
day.
next time. All right. Bye.
Next time. Bye.